Kim Kardashian has established a reputation for oversharing, and though it may not be wanted, she still does it. TMI is an understatement with her, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have any secrets of her own. Sometimes, even her own tight-knit family is shocked by her revelations, and that's exactly the moments that we'll be sharing with you today. Before we begin, make sure to click subscribe and turn on your notifications for more videos from the taco. Let's get started. Indulgence. Hearing that a celebrity overindulges on alcohol or even illicit substances sadly isn't very surprising. Despite having more than enough money to hire a driver, high-profile celebrities getting arrested for driving under the influence is sadly quite common. It even famously happened to one member of the Kardashian family already, and that would be Khloe. But for almost as long as we've been watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the siblings claim not to drink heavily. When asked how much Kim drinks, Khloe claimed that whether or not she is pregnant, Kim isn't much for alcohol and never has been. But apparently, Kim hasn't been entirely honest about her past, even with her siblings. During a recent episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, it was revealed that Kim had gotten high and gone to an amusement park in the past. Kendall Jenner was shocked by the revelation and claimed to have no idea that Kim had ever used drugs. But that wasn't the end of the shocking reveals. Kim also added that she had done ecstasy in the past, and it coincided with some of her worst life choices. Apparently, she was under the influence of this drug when she married music producer Damon Thomas, and when she made her now infamous intimate tape with Ray J.
You were high on ecstasy when you had that sex tape?
Absolutely. Everyone knows it. Like, my jaw was shaking.
Influence. Everyone knows that there was a time when Kim Kardashian was best friends with socialite Paris Hilton. We know it's hard to remember, but at one point, Kim Kardashian was far from famous herself. But this doesn't mean she wasn't dreaming of being in the spotlight. Instead, she spent ages standing by while Paris got all of the attention, and sometimes these two got up to some crazy and dangerous adventures. Paris was known for being a party girl, and apparently took Kim along for the ride. Once the two traveled to Ibiza together, living it up at a foam party until 7 a.m. Instead of heading back to their hotel room, the girls decided to sleep on some rafts set adrift in the ocean. Thankfully, Paris and Kim didn't drift off to a deserted island. But this news about Kim's hard partying past was news to her sister, Kendall Jenner. Paris may have been a bad influence in some ways, but she was also the inspiration for what ultimately made Kim Kardashian a household name. An intimate tape starring Paris Hilton had been released, and it was all anyone could talk about. Kim wanted that sort of recognition for herself, so she and her mother provided a similar video to Vivid Entertainment. For years, Kim insisted she didn't leak the tape, but now admits to being inspired by her one-time BFF, Paris Hilton. Discretion. Even before he got married to Kris Jenner, Bruce Jenner was used to being in the spotlight, but once his family became famous due to his reality show, he reached an all-new level of exposure. So when we found out that Bruce would be transitioning to Caitlyn, many fans were shocked and couldn't help but wonder if any of the family members saw this coming. After all, the Kardashians are a close-knit family, and could they really have been as surprised as the rest of us? Well, although Khloe Kardashian claimed to be completely blindsided by the reveal, Kim had some insider information she chose to keep to herself. Apparently, she once walked in on her stepfather dressed in women's clothing long before his transition. The situation was so awkward for young Kim that she left the house without saying anything, got in her car, and drove away. According to Caitlyn, she had a talk with Kim when she finally returned. Kim was understandably confused about the situation, and Caitlyn did her best to answer her questions. But she also asked Kim to keep things quiet because she wasn't quite ready to come out yet. Fights. Kim and Kanye might seem like a perfect couple, but they do have their fair share of arguments. We're sure it will surprise you to find this out, but Kim loves to overshare about her personal life with her family members and her many fans. In comparison, Kanye West is a very private person, and it took him some time to get used to Kim's oversharing style. But after years of marriage, they've managed to compromise in many areas. Still, out of respect for Kanye, Kim tries not to air their dirty laundry, even to her own family members. But there was one occasion where their fights were getting so out of hand that Kim had to finally turn to her sisters for help. After welcoming Chicago West to the family, things started to get combative between Kim and Kanye. Perhaps the most shocking thing about these fights were that they were almost comically mundane. Even Kim called these fights really stupid when she opened up, citing one particular disagreement over which Instagram photo to post. And then there was the tense disagreement over the type of band-aids Kim got for Kanye.
He didn't like the color of the Band-Aid.
Thankfully, the story has a happy ending. After opening up, Kim realized the real issue was getting so busy with the kids, she wasn't making Kanye a priority. Prediction. We all know that it can be easier to recognize the mistakes made by others than the ones we make ourselves. Kim Kardashian's first marriage may have been fueled by drugs, but her second one happened because of her fear. For years, Kim had been telling anyone who would listen about how desperately she wanted to get married and start a family. When she felt her biological clock begin to tick, she thought getting married as soon as possible would be the answer. And just who happened to be around during this time but the well-intentioned Kris Humphries. Their whirlwind wedding was extravagant and aired as a two-part special called Kim's Fairy Tale Wedding, a Kardashian event. Right before the wedding, Kim's siblings asked if she was sure about going through with it, but Kim insisted she she was fine. However, she now admits that she only married Kris because she was desperate and not because she was in love with him. She thought she could make things work, but realized on her honeymoon that she had made a huge mistake. Only 72 days after their picture-perfect wedding, Kim filed for divorce, a move which surprised both her family and her husband. Robbery. Although her life has been privileged in many ways, it hasn't been without any sort of trauma or tragedy. During a trip to Paris, France, not Hilton, Kim was the victim of an armed robbery. It was a harrowing experience, and one which left a lasting impact on Kim. At first, she tried to downplay how traumatic the incident had been and the lingering effects it had on her. She found herself having panic attacks, and even simple things like driving a car became difficult. Kim also suffered from flashbacks of the event and had trouble sleeping at night. Eventually, Kim had no choice but to admit she was seriously struggling and asked for help. Although she's criticized her sister, Kourtney Kardashian, for seeking therapy, that was exactly what Kim did to cope with what happened to her. In addition to overhauling her security detail, taking a break from social media, and getting therapy, Kim finally realized she had to surround herself with her loved ones, even if that meant letting them know just how much she was hurting and asking for help. Loose lips. The Kardashians love to talk about the importance of family, but sometimes Kim has trouble getting along well with others. She's fiercely protective over her siblings and doesn't always behave well when she thinks they're being mistreated. When Khloe was in the hospital to give birth to her daughter, True, Kim just couldn't stop throwing shade at Tristan Thompson. She even blocked him on Instagram at some point, which is pretty much the ultimate diss in this famous family.
It's going to be a rule. I'm not following any boyfriend or anything because it's so awkward when I have to unfollow.
But Tristan Thompson is far from the first philanderer Khloe has been involved with. During her marriage to Lamar Odom, Khloe tried her best to maintain the illusion that everything was going well. Lamar struggled with drug abuse and cheated on Khloe multiple times with multiple women. Eventually, the situation came to light, but Lamar has always expected that someone in the family leaked his information to the media, and it may have even been Kim herself. Honestly, if this allegation turns out to be true, it wouldn't be all that surprising considering Kim's obvious disdain for anyone who wrongs Khloe. After their divorce, Lamar made a joke about Khloe moving on to more NBA players, and Kim quickly clapped back that Lamar had visited brothels during his marriage to Khloe. Control. Kim Kardashian's need for control has been an asset to building an empire, but sometimes there is a definite downside. And as you've probably guessed, her marriage to the notoriously unpredictable Kanye West hasn't always been easy on her. Kanye has a reputation for making inflammatory and confusing statements at random, and many times Kim is left trying to deal with the fallout. He decided to participate in a video interview conducted by TMZ and made some pretty shocking statements, even by Kanye standards. Perhaps the most controversial of which was when he declared that slavery sounded like a choice. Apparently, Kim was livid about the remarks and the ensuing fallout, but what hurt the most was reportedly the fact that she wasn't consulted about the interview at all. In fact, Kanye's wife found out about his statements at the same time the rest of the world did. Kim is used to Kanye's sometimes confusing train of thought and says she believes in time he can adequately explain himself, but this time she was totally caught off guard and wasn't prepared to deal with the fallout from an interview. Pregnancy. Most people assume that the Kardashian family isn't exactly great at keeping secrets, based on their social media usage and reality TV show, but we soon learned that when they feel it is necessary, they're capable of keeping things on the down low. Kim Kardashian once called Kylie Jenner's pregnancy the best kept secret of this generation.
Your pregnancy has been the best kept secret of our generation.
And she might just be right.
Like, your friends deserve awards.
But while most of the world was in the dark, Kylie's family members knew what was going on. Kim is a supportive big sister, and of course stayed quiet about Stormi's impending birth, but she was stressed out about the secret and began to feel intense anxiety. She worried that someone would spill the beans, and Kylie wouldn't be able to enjoy the private pregnancy she wanted so badly. But of course, Kim didn't want to share these thoughts with Kylie, who had enough on her plate to worry about. After Stormi was born, Kim confessed she was relieved the whole situation had resolved itself, but she was proud and impressed that her family proved they can keep at least one thing private. Faith. Keeping Up with the Kardashians has been a reality television staple for so long that it's hard to imagine a time when it didn't exist. Kim admits it took some time to convince her siblings to get on board with the idea of a reality show about their lives, and that's pretty understandable. Kourtney Kardashian later admitted that during the first season she would often lock herself in the bathroom and cry because of the stress of the camera crews. But we think it's safe to say that all of the members of the family are glad they made the leap to reality television. But eventually, Kim confessed that becoming a reality TV star was just a small part of her master plan. She never thought the show would last as long as it did. She just wanted to get enough exposure to break into the world of fashion. Kim claimed fashion was her true passion in life, and she was confident it would be what she was the most well known for. But as we all know, Keeping Up with the Kardashians is going strong, and Kim is now famous for, well, being famous. Were you surprised to learn any of these secrets about Kim Kardashian? Or had you guessed them already? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and then click on the subscribe button for more awesome videos from the Taco. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.